Hello, this is Liz coming to you pre-recorded for Freebie Friday. Why pre-recorded, you ask? Well, some good news. I actually am going to see my family for the first time in about 2 months. I know a lot of people are kind of in the same boat. My parents live in Massachusetts. Luckily, they're in Western Mass and far away from Boston, but we finally kind of got the go-ahead to actually see each other. Probably still while maintaining distance, but that is why I am pre-recording today's Freebie Friday. I can't let you hanging, especially not with the weekend coming. So I still have some free picks for you. The first is going to be two from IMDb TV. The first is The Brothers Bloom, and this is directed by Rian Johnson. You probably know him better now as the director of Knives Out and The Last Jedi, but he got his start in smaller films, as most directors do. And this is kind of a fun, kind of an action comedy movie. Rachel Weisz is in it. It's definitely, if you liked Knives Out, I think you will greatly enjoy this movie. It's kind of, I like watching early features because it is a good sign of things to come. And the second I'm going to recommend to you is a movie I absolutely love called Buckaroo Banzai, or full title, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai in the Eighth Dimension. It's a long one, but this movie is a lot of fun, and it was inspired by a lot of the old kind of pulp serials from the 40s and 50s, and you watch this, you're kind of dropped in. It's almost as if, oh, this is the, let's say, seventh movie in a series. But it's a lot of fun. It is a little esoteric. It might be one that some people are like, this is just not my thing. But I think it's great. It also stars Ellen Barkin, John Lithgow, Jeff Goldblum is in it. It's got a cult following, very loyal cult following, and it's one of those movies I like to introduce people to because I like to hear their reactions to it. Up next, two on Crackle. First, I'm gonna do Silent Hill. I gotta put some horror in there, guys. So this is based on the video game series. I am not a video game person. That is kind of the area of nerd that I just never got into, but I did like the adaptation of this. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but it's a really good when it comes to atmosphere and just kind of really weird and scary images. And I'm like, well, those are two things you need for a scary movie. Speaking of scary movies, we have Rampart, in which Woody Harrelson stars as a violent cop. Some real life terror there. Again, this movie might not be for everybody, but if you like a good character study and you like Woody Harrelson, this is a good movie to watch. And I don't think it's a bad film. Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars, and a lot of the praise for this movie was on Harrelson's performance. And there are some times where a movie can be like an okay idea on paper, and then when you actually see it and you see a good actor really dig into it, you start to see like the potential of it. And Harrelson is someone who I think can take pretty much any okay character and elevate it. I do remember in 2014 when True Detective was going on and everyone was praising Matthew McConaughey, I was kind of like, hey guys, are you missing a really good Woody Harrelson performance right over there? But, I digress. Woody Harrelson, I think, remains one of our best working actors today and definitely one of the most underrated. Next, we're going to Tubi. So this is a documentary called Murderball. This came out in 2005, and I got to see it because I went to college in New York, and they get pretty much every movie. So this is about a rugby team, but it is made up of players who are paraplegic, paralyzed from the waist down. So they play this rugby with wheelchairs, and this is basically a look at the players as they are, just their personal lives and as they're getting ready for the disabled Olympics that were going to be held. It's not the Special Olympics. And the reason I like this movie is because it never kind of uses any of the people in it for, like, I guess I should say, like, inspiration. It's just very matter of fact. We're here. This is how we live. And there have been a lot of disabled people and activists who've commented in the past. They don't like their lives used as like, isn't this inspiring? Because for them, it is just like, no, this is just how we live and do everyday things. It is another way of otherizing them, even if it's meant in the best intentions. So I would say this is a hidden gem of the day. If you like sports, definitely check this one out. Up next, we have another Rian Johnson film. This one is Looper. This was probably his first big film, the one that got the wide release. So he had Brick, he had Brothers Bloom, and then Looper, because this is big, because it starred Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It is a time travel movie. Hard not to give anything away. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a contract killer, and then one day he gets a person, and the person looks like an older version of him, and he has to figure out why he has been sent back to die. And I think it's a flawed movie, but I think it has great ideas. It does a lot with those ideas. It's a good action movie. It becomes Akira for 5 seconds, which I'm always here for. Also, Emily Blunt's in it. Emily Blunt is never a bad thing. But if you've never seen this, I would say give it a shot. It was one of my favorite movies the year it came out. And again, I can always forgive logic loopholes if the movie shows enough flair and competent direction. Up next is a favorite film of mine, and I'm so happy this is available for free. Ginger Snaps. I previously recommended this when it was on Prime. This is the tale of sisterly love and werewolves that you never knew you needed. This film is absolutely great. It is a horror movie, so if you're not really into that, I'd say skip it, because this isn't like The Wolfman. This is more American Werewolf in London. But two girls, they're both sisters. They have morbid fascination with death. One of them gets bit by a wolf and starts to change. They're also teenagers and in high school, and a change is happening. You can kind of fill in the blanks. I absolutely love this movie, though. Women are often the main characters in horror movies, but rarely are they given a lot of depth. I guess I shouldn't say rarely. I think horror is better for women than it often gets cast as. I think people tend to overlook a lot of the good in it, but, it still is a genre where, like a lot of films, sometimes, they just don't give female characters as much depth as the male characters. Or if it's a slasher, no one cares, because everyone's cannon fodder. But both of the two sisters are really well-realized characters. Catherine Isabel is amazing as Ginger. And actually, the werewolf effects are great. I really do love this movie, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. On to Voodoo, our final two recommendations. If you want a family film, or you just love Anne Hathaway, Ella Enchanted is on Voodoo, and that is a very charming movie. And this is Anne Hathaway post, how would I put it? I would say post Princess Diaries. It might be pre-Devil Wears Prada, but it was before she started transitioning into a quote-unquote real actress, i.e. not doing kids' movies anymore. But it just shows that Anne Hathaway, even as a young actress, is someone who could just always bring her A game. She never phones a performance in. That's why I like her as an actress. And Ella Enchanted is a very well-known kids book. If you like that book, you will like this movie. And I just think it's a great movie for young kids. A lot of fun and very imaginative. And the final one I'm going to recommend is Kicking and Screaming. No, not the Will Ferrell movie. This is a 1995 film, which is the debut of Noah Baumbach, who you might know for more recent movies like Frances Ha, Squid and the Whale, Greenberg. This is about young Gen X. I can't call them kids. I kind of can, because the age they're at in this movie, they're younger than I am. But these are post-college, young 20-somethings, their first year out in the real world. And unlike a lot of other Gen X movies, like Reality Bites and Singles, I don't hate the characters as much, because I think as I've gotten older, I watch some of those movies and I'm like, look, I get wanting to be a rebel, but at some point what's wrong with having a job, guys? But I don't know. I like this movie. It's very charming. If you do know someone who is just getting out of college, this might be a good movie to watch. Or if you like Noah Baumbach, or kind of just the early 90s indie scene, which was kind of like Noah Baumbach. It was Kevin Smith, Whit Stillman with Metropolitan. I would definitely give it a watch. I think it holds up really well. It also is in the Criterion Collection. But yeah, I would say if you didn't like Reality Bites, you didn't like singles, you might like Kicking and Screaming. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.